everybody, and welcome to Late Night News here with Go Indie Now. I am Joe Compton,
And I'm Katie Salidas.
and we've got a great jam-packed show for you, and it's going to be exciting, and we're going to get right to it. Katie's got our top story tonight. Go for it, Katie.
All right. So Goodreads says that it's serious about extortion scams and review bombing, but are they really? So spam emails are ubiquitous. For the most part, we ignore them. My personal favorite is the one that says my computer's been hacked and they have some X-rated material, video of me doing naughty things. Dude, come on. It's called OnlyFans. You pay me for that, not the other way around. Anyways, joking aside, some authors have been receiving messages that have very real threats of review bombing if the author doesn't pay the ransom. Scammers and cyberstalkers are increasingly using the Goodreads platform to do their extortion. They frequently target authors who are marginalized, or especially those who are outspoken, those who really like to get on social media and talk about controversies within the industry or larger issues. So this is where it gets tricky. Authors need reviews on their books. It helps legitimize our books in the marketplace. So the threat of a review bomb, which is basically tanking a book by using a multitude of one-star ratings, it can seriously harm the author's career. So it's primarily happening on Goodreads. It occasionally shows up on some of the other retail platforms. Let's talk about why, though. Why is it happening more on Goodreads than anywhere else? Goodreads was launched in 2007. Goodreads has evolved into the world's largest online book community. It's where users go to rate books, to find recommendations for new books, to track their reading, to host online book clubs. It's the place to go if you want to find out about books. It was purchased for about $150 million from Amazon, and it boasts about 120 million members worldwide and growing. It is far and away the most popular and influential book database out there. And with the social media presence that it's about as influential as Facebook. So it's a serious problem if Goodreads is being used to target authors. Many authors, myself included, wish to ignore Goodreads. It's one of the places I hate to go. The reason this is becoming even more prevalent with authors is because of the bullying and extortion. It's frequent topics on social media. Both authors and readers object to how the site functions, especially when it comes to moderation or lack thereof. There's nothing that prevents an extortion review bombing scam from happening. It takes about 30 seconds to set up a Goodreads account. Anybody with an email can do it. They don't even need to verify that email. And once an account is set up, they can post a review on any book. So there's no requirement there stopping them. There's also no requirement for text to be added to any reviews. So drive-by one-starring is really easy and takes almost, no time at all? So if you think about it realistically, 30 seconds for a one-star review. Add to the fact that most of these people who are doing the extortion can set up spam bots. Multiply that by the hundreds, and you can tank a book in a day. And it's not just the book either, it's the author. They will target not only one book by the author, they will go down the list and target every single book in that author's catalog and one-star it. And it takes them no time at all. So that creates a really big problem for authors, especially the newer ones out there who are trying to reach their audience and know that Goodreads is the place to go. What can you do about it, though? Not much. Now look at their parent company, Amazon. Amazon owns Goodreads. They should be able to police them a little better, but they don't. On Amazon, which is the retail platform, you have to have a registered and verified account to post a review. Not only that, but your account has to have a minimum spend of $50 on the website before it's allowed to post a review. Is it a perfect system? No. But at least it sets up some checks and balances to stop somebody from drive-by review bombing. That really doesn't leave much for us out there. The question again, what can you do? You can suggest that people don't use Goodreads to check up on books for review. I know it sounds like a cop-out, but if they go to the retail site where they're going to buy the book, they're more than likely to find a more accurate review. Secondly, you could contact the FBI's Internet Crime Complaint Center. It is an internet crime. It's extortion. May actually help you. We'll put the link in the show notes below on where you can go to contact them. And third, notify Goodreads, because they said in a statement in July 29 of this year that they are actively working to resolve many of these review bombing problems. My mom always used to tell me that actions speak louder than words. So until I see some action, I really don't put a lot of faith into it. But at least do your due diligence. Contact the people you need to if this kind of situation happens to you. But until there are some serious controls, it's going to remain an issue.
And it's Amazon, so, you know, how much policing they've done, you know, transparency is our favorite thing about Amazon, right? I mean,
yeah. And Amazon could come back and argue that it's not a retail site, and that's why they don't police it as hard. But still, it's affecting the legitimacy of Goodreads as a website. If people are more and more seeing that the reviews on Goodreads aren't really worth paying attention to, you're undermining the reason people go to Goodreads. Yes, they find books there, but they also look at the reviews to determine whether they want to read them or not.
Well, I've done nothing but sugarcoat my love or hatred for Goodreads, I guess you could call it. Most people who know me know where I stand. Actually, you know, I've kind of actually turned a little bit of a corner with Goodreads, which in some respects, but you know, it's such an antiquated site anyway. The thing that bothers me is the extortion part of this. I mean, to just, you know that if they bomb your site, you know, it's I know its reviews are important, but, you know, just make sure you steer people to the actual places where they're verified and things of that nature, because
it does create a heart attack, though, feeling if you see your book being tanked by 1-star reviews and you don't have the either the social media presence to help talk about what's going on, to help stop it, or to raise awareness, or if you don't have people on your side who can help mitigate some of those negative reviews. I mean, I know a lot of authors who have a hard time getting to 50 reviews.
yeah.
So can you imagine that author who is struggling to get 50 decent reviews, and they've all of a sudden got 1,000 1-star reviews in a day? That's heartbreaking.
Yeah, I'm just glad that nobody, you know, nobody equates Goodread reviews to, you know, rankings or qualifications for ad spacing and things of that nature, because that would be where this becomes troublesome in a lot of respects. I mean, this is a big deal, and this is, it's you know, if this was Amazon doing that, you know, if this would be massive, right? And because and even Amazon itself is kind of like, oh well, you know, it's a crappy site, what do you want us to do? Right, kind of idea. And that's just,
speaking of, they really need to update their site. It is so not user friendly.
It's the worst. It's the worst. It's worse than MySpace.
I just had a thought too, because I originally said that Amazon could probably use the argument that Goodreads isn't a retail outlet, but
Right.
Goodreads constantly tries to get authors to do paid promotions. So technically, they do have a retail side.
Yeah, I mean, even their giveaways now, though, have been usurped by other places like, you know, Story Origins and places like that, and you know, a bunch of other sites that have taken that mantle from them. That used to be the reason why you go to Goodreads, was the giveaway aspect of it, right? And even that has become so antiquated that they've been lapped in that respect too. I mean, it kind of bleeds into our next story, which is a lot about, you know, the antiquated nature in which printing is becoming in our business for, you know, PODs and places like that. I mean, right now, as we're kind of, everything in the show tonight is kind of connected, which is kind of cool. I like how we're kind of chain linking it tonight, because this goes into what I'm going to talk about, which is KDP versus Amazon, or KDP's Amazon printing side versus Ingram Spark, and you know, the other players that are trying to get into this marketplace as well. But Ingram Spark is kind of doing this neat thing where they're, you know, they're kind of separating themselves from Amazon a little bit and saying, look at what we can do. We can do hard covers for you. We can do different interesting things. And those things are starting to come back into style because people want tangible things to hold again. And this is going to lead us into our next part of what we're talking about too, with cons and those coming back.
I have a bone to pick though with Ingram. They
Yeah.
are severely reining in their coupon codes. They used to have regular coupon codes throughout the year to help mitigate the expense. And granted, it's not a huge expense initially, but for those of us who do update our books, that $25 each time you update it adds up.
I would tell you there's a reason for that. There's a good reason for that. And that's because where they get the ink, where they get the rollers, and where they get the printing supplies is not in America. And so right now with COVID going on, there's ships are backed up in the harbors beyond,
But that should be factored into the production cost, which goes towards wholesale.
Well, that's why you're not getting the discount, is because they need to factor in the cost of waiting and doing that business and getting it quicker to you. So I think
I still don't like it.
I think you're going to see in probably a couple of years that's going to go back down a little bit. The interesting thing about the article that I'll share with everybody in the link too, you can check it out, and we're going to talk a lot about it on Sunday on This Week in Indies as well. The interesting thing to me though is that KDP wants to they took away something that we really all kind of enjoyed, which was create space. I mean, we had our bones to pick with it. We had our ideas of how they could improve and how antiquated that system was at times and things of that nature. But it was still a lot easier than what they've made basically unknown to us with KDP Printing and what they served to, what they took create space into and sucked it into, and they've Ingram has far surpassed them in terms of setting up documents and doing print settings and things of that nature. Because Ingram concentrated on that and that alone, and that helped them. And so I think there's this mystery and allure about KDP Printing. And it goes to kind of what Amazon's all about, which is, okay, if this is making us money, we're going to go here. If this is not making us money, we're going to kind of let it go, right? And so, but it would behoove them to kind of have this relationship with Ingram. And it's come to find out that they don't really have a very good relationship, and that they're not, at least, this article was interviewing somebody who's an expert in the relationship aspect of these two entities, and it really is showing that there's a big difference, and there's a difference in quality, there's a difference in price, there's a difference in all of the things that these things are representing. And when we're starting to get back into cons and we're starting to go out again and we're starting to sell books and we want that quality, I mean, you can see it in the covers and the difference in the covers. However, I have heard from some people who've used KDP Printing that those covers look pretty good. It's the insides and the things that they've done that they've kind of screwed up on. Yeah.
Can I show you an example?
Sure, please. Yes, I would love to see that.
And this is in no way promoting the book in question. I'm just showing you the quality difference. And hopefully it will show in the light. Can you see the color difference?
Of course, yeah. One's lighter, one's darker.
The lighter one is Amazon. The darker one is the correct color. That's Ingram. Same cover file.
That has a lot of bleed on it too. So
no changes between the cover file. Same colors, everything. So there is a quality difference in their color printing.
There you go.
And I've been fighting to try and get that corrected.
Why did you do both? Just to see it, to kind of give an idea?
Whenever I suggest to my clients where to go with their printing, I suggest they go through Amazon, because then they will always have the prime shipping availability, but also to go through an outlet like Ingram, because it's got the worldwide market, so they can get sales through other channels that Amazon isn't going to touch. And doing that, Amazon is usually the default.
Mm-hmm.
So when Amazon is printing an inferior product, that becomes an issue when we get proofs from both of them. And I go, crap, Amazon's screwing us over. And I know that's the one that most people are buying. So I've been struggling trying to get the color match to whatever Amazon's weird printing is, because I don't know why it's coming out the way it is.
Yeah.
But luckily they don't charge for corrections. So we can upload as many covers as we want.
Right. And with in the audio realm, which we'll talk about as well later on in this broadcast, there are competitors starting to pop up, and and in this case, in the printing aspect, that is the case too, because Ingram is not giving you guys the discounts that you've been looking for. It has become this thing where we're going to the cheaper options, and the cheaper options aren't always the quality option, right? So you get what you pay for kind of idea behind it. So it's interesting because I think KDP is the printing aspect of it. They didn't incorporate anybody from, it's like almost like they took over a company and fired everybody from CreateSpace and didn't take any of their advice, didn't take any of their suggestions, right? Or didn't take any suggestions from anybody. Because I know I filled out a survey. I don't know about anybody else, but I filled out a survey, and what did you like about CreateSpace? What did you didn't like about CreateSpace? And I'm wondering where those all went, because
I love the fact that their books, when you order a proof copy. Now, if you're like me, you're a business person, your book is your business. If I'm ordering a proof copy and that copy is a good quality copy, I'm going to sell it to gain the money back that I spent on it. I order a proof copy from Ingram. It looks exactly like the copy I'm going to sell. Mm-hmm. It's a production quality copy. You order a proof copy from Amazon, big stripe across the front, not for resale. Well, now you just cost me about $9, because not only did I have to pay the wholesale cost on that, but I also had to pay the shipping on that too. I can't recoup any of that money. And yes, it's only $9 or $10, but that's still a business expense I can't recoup. And I'm about getting the costs down. And that's usually what I coach all of my clients on, is let's find the most cost-effective ways to do things. And Amazon, you're costing me money every single time I've got to proof a copy with you guys, because I cannot turn it around and sell it.
It's their answer to the, you don't want to send that to somebody who might resell it. That's their answer. That's why they do that.
Why? I bought the book. It's my book. I can do what I like with it.
I know. It's the way corporations answer questions. It's
so frustrating.
It's frustrating, and it's not.
And how about if I order 10 books, I get 10 packages of books, individually wrapped packages. What is wrong with Amazon?
Well, we're going to hit them hard even more later on. But Katie and I had the distinct pleasure of sitting down with two wonderful, wonderful people who I know, two are friends of mine, and they are incredible con goers out there. And so we're calling them our special correspondents tonight. And they just attended DragonCon. And this is the first part of a two-part series that we're going to be running. We'll run the second part on This Week in Indies. But Miss Vanessa Junta and Rachel Brune joined us, and we sat down and talked a little bit about their experience at DragonCon. And I thought it would be interesting to pass that along to all of you, to give you guys a sense of what it was like to be at a bigger con, in a bigger event, and what that kind of represents, and how to approach, what their advice would be. And Katie also had some great advice in this piece about how to approach where we're headed, and how to get back into the flow of these things. So enjoy that, and we'll be back after that to talk a little bit more. We have some good news in terms of cons that Katie's going to share with us after this. So enjoy this, everybody, and we'll be right back. The past weekend was DragonCon, and I thought maybe we could have a nice conversation with two people who attended that event, our special correspondents, as I'm calling them, Miss Vanessa Junta and Miss Rachel Brune. And both of them were at the event in different capacities too, which is kind of interesting as well. I know Rachel was more, you were more in the America's Mart area, Rachel, weren't you?
Yep. So I was invited to share a booth with a bunch of other authors, and so that's where we were for a large part of the con, telling people, hey, come on in for some fantasy, science fiction, and horror.
Yeah, as part of, for people who don't understand, I don't know who wouldn't, especially our audience, that DragonCon is this giant, massive thing. Well, they decided to go ahead with the in-person event, as most cons are doing now, and it's kind of interesting. I'm kind of curious, Vanessa, you've been to several of them, so how different was it for you this time around? And
it was very different. So this was my 11th year. I am second to the director for the writers track, so I'm part of the running around team. And they capped, so our last numbers from 2019 were something like 82,000 people, and they capped it at half that for this year. And it was awesome in that regard. Honest to God, if they could do this every year, I would be happy. One of the issues I've always had with DragonCon is how crowded it is. And you can't walk through the Marriott. And the Marriott lobby is huge, but it's also the party hotel. I mean, they're all the party hotel to an extent, but Marriott is the big party hotel. And also it's where cosplayers go specifically to show off their costumes, because there's a lot of photo opportunities and things like that on the main floor. And so, but if you're trying to walk through that hotel to get to the hotel on the other side, whichever way you're going, you've got to really steel yourself. So having fewer people was actually really nice. And I'm sure from a regular attendee's viewpoint, it was also nice because the lines were a lot shorter. Some places didn't have lines. People could get seats. People could attend events that maybe they weren't able to attend in the past because it was too crowded, or it was already closed down or whatever.
I would assume that this is a good opportunity if you're a writer or somebody who's new and wants to experience these things, that you might have more opportunities to do these things because of the idea that there's not as many people, and there is a sense that we all want to get back to normal, but there is opportunity out there.
My particular track wasn't all that different than normal, because it's still, the panels that usually fill up still filled up. The panels that, even some panels that don't usually completely fill up. We had a late night panel about writing sex and erotica and stuff like that. And dude, they were like turning people away at the door.
Wow.
How about you, Rachel? Did it seem much different inside the actual panel rooms?
Not really.
You were on other tracks. You were on other tracks panels too, and I was basically in my track.
So I did the two panels, the one on the writer track, and then the other one was a horror panel. It was on publishing horror, which was actually a new track to me. I hadn't gone to any horror panels before, because usually they're more like television and film, and I'm more interested in reading or like horror literature. So I was like, well, this is really cool, actually, the horror track here. We went to one of the national security decision-making game panels, which we'd been to before. And that one it looked about the same amount of attendees, panelists. And maybe it was because we've all just gotten kind of used to some of the protocols that existing in a plague year brings. But it didn't feel super terribly different. It still had that same DragonCon vibe. It still had awesome panels, great discussions, fans who were just super excited to be there, people getting a chance to kind of meet and network. And I don't know if, I am obviously very personally considering whether or not this is going to be my first and last time. But at the same time, the reality is that I can't just sell books online and expect to be successful. So events like this are pretty integral to the business model for Chrome Girls Press, as well as for me going out and meeting readers, fellow writers, and all of that.
For anybody who's thinking about cons, your perception, you both have done smaller cons as well this year. So is that where you would suggest people start, is to kind of get their footing with the smaller cons, and if they're looking to make some money, or if they're looking to get interact with their fan base and audience, that's probably where you would suggest they go.
Don't discredit the small cons. Small cons can be really fun and not, not always lucrative, but they're beneficial in other ways too. There's the networking angle. There's, sitting in on panels in a smaller con, you might actually have more people willing to listen because cons don't come around there that often. So when even a small one does, they kind of flock to them. So smaller cons are great. I would definitely not knock any of them.
My first convention was EresiaCon in Boston. And I didn't really know what I was getting into. Because
you were such a young innocent then.
I was in grad school. Okay, so it was I was in SEA, and some of my SEA friends, Dan and Pasita, who now run Tea and Absinthe, which was also at DragonCon.
I love them.
They are amazing. But they were like, yeah, we're gonna go to Eresia. I was like, well, what's that? And they're like, oh, it's it's like a convention thing. I'm like, okay, cool. So I show up. I've bought 2 memberships. My spouse can't make it. So I show up and there's somebody in the line. I was like, hey, do you have a membership? They're like, no. I was like, do you want one?
First one's free.
I was like, hey. Wow. So, so I was able to find someone, gave them my membership. And then I was getting ready to go in, and there was somebody at the concierge desk who had like a whole bunch of different little hygiene kits with and they were explaining, and it's soap and this. And I'm like, why do they need that?
Really were a sweet summer child.
What is going on here? But I think that was also the one where Maris, the artist Maris, was a guest of honor, was the artist guest of honor. So it was a kind of a great introduction to, it was a smaller con. I mean, it's still pretty big, but it wasn't DragonCon sized. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it was just so much fun. And there's something to be said about having the con be all in one place.
Yeah.
Convenience. Convenience. It's easier to continue the vibe, if you know what I mean. Like, you have all the people in one place, and so you'll see people throughout. You'll strike up conversations. Like, if you do find someone that you hit it off with, you can talk to them. And yeah, it's just like all kind of in that one same area. I don't know.
No, I agree with you 100%. And also, like, it's much more accessible, like from an interpersonal standpoint, right? It doesn't feel as intimidating. Also, small cons have super loyal attendees. Like, small cons, especially if they're in one place all the time, the people that go there every year, And I mean, DragonCon's like that too, but again, that's huge, right? We're talking smaller. And
so check out part 2. A lot of great stuff being shared there. Small cons, I think, are the way to go. But hey, look, if you want to take your chances, maybe, I guess the next big one would be San Diego. I don't know of any that are huge beyond that. We have news on some that will become huge pretty quickly here because, Katie, we found out, what's funny is we did this story, it was like February, I think it was, of last year, or maybe March.
I
where we
honestly
did this,
don't remember. Time is a blur right now.
where we did the story about one of the cons shutting down, and luckily for those of you who were fans of those cons, you don't have to worry anymore because Fan Expo's got your back, right?
Yeah, Fan Expo and Wizard World are combining forces. It's like, it's like the superhero story. You get the team up and you've got the Justice League, you got the Avengers. Well, now you've got Fan Expo and Wizard World. So Fan Expo is a division of the events giant Informa. They have announced that they are adding the sixth most popular and best attended comic and fan conventions from Wizard World, which if you've been to Wizard World events, you know what those are all about. They're adding them to their portfolio of shows. And according to the announcement, Wizard World events in Chicago, Philadelphia, New Orleans, Portland, St. Louis, and Cleveland are going to be rebranded to Fan Expo events. Now, this will happen in 2022. So there is still a Wizard World Chicago that's supposed to happen in October. That one is going to be rebranded in 2022. That's when they're going to start this. Fan Expo also picked up MegaCon in Orlando and Denver Pop Culture Con, which that's a good one. I've been wanting to go to that one. And the newly announced San Francisco convention. So it gives the Toronto-based company pretty much a stranglehold on North America. They are the largest and biggest to bring these kind of events, which is good because that means we'll still be able to have these events because we are, like you said, Joe, we're in a time where a lot of these events are shutting down and that's limiting our availability to get out there. So this merger actually is a good thing because it's going to ensure that some of those bigger events that we look forward to are going to continue. So again, the 2021 events are still going to remain as they were. In 2022, they're going to be branding it over to the Fan Expo brand, but they're going to maintain the staff. They're going to maintain the venues. They're going to keep the Wizard World feel for those previously Wizard World events. So that way, the people who go and they know what to expect are going to continue to have their expectations met. So follow the stories as they come out. They'll be making some great announcements more towards the end of the year. But so far, this is a good news. This is good for us. We're not losing some of these events, and hopefully we'll be able to continue having events soon. I know right now it's still iffy. Phoenix Comic-Con just announced this week. They're delaying. They planned on having their next event in January 2022, and now they've delayed it again. So now we're looking at 2023, probably May timeframe before Phoenix comes back. And that was my personal favorite event. The event in Las Vegas where I'm at was supposed to happen in October. It kept getting pushed back and back and back. Now they don't have a date listed, but they're saying they will come back in late 2022. So I'm assuming probably the end of summer. So a lot of the events that we're used to going to are still being held off. But again, this is good news. Some of the bigger events are going to still remain, and they're going to remain in the way we know them, even if they've got a different company owning them.
And the good thing about one company kind of driving this too is that you're going to get kind of a uniformed idea of how these run, but also they're going to be able to stream these. And this is part of their plan a little bit too. I read a little bit about how Fan Expo plans to kind of 50-50 these cons a little bit and do an online component. So you could essentially be doing a panel for a San Francisco con, even though you're in Toronto or you're in New York, and you could do a New York con even though you're in Los Angeles or Las Vegas, and all of those things. Fan Expo, and the cool thing is if you get into that, you're into all of them, right? Fan Expo is going to probably lean on you to do a lot more for them with that respect. So this is an opportunity for especially indies out there who are doing, even not just books but comics and also film. If you're an indie that's doing films out there and you want to promote your film, you're going to have an opportunity to go through the entire country, the entire North America, because it goes into Canada as well, and promote your film in one fell swoop. You could do essentially a press junket through the entire Fan Expo lineup because Fan Expo is going to hold on to you, and they're going to kind of make that a premium. And you could do that also through online. And I think that's going to be an interesting component, and something that we've talked about and actually we talked about it with Vanessa and Rachel a little bit too, about the 50-50 aspect of it, and how DragonCon has been kind of ahead of the game in that respect, and San Diego has been kind of lagging. And so, and it's the world we're living in, and so there's going to be that opportunity. And I'll give a little bit of a spoiler here, that Vanessa talks about a con that she was able to attend from her house, because she would never go to that con because it's too expensive and too much to get there, unless they would flip the bill for her to go, which nobody's going to do that for the big guys. Well, it's so. But she talked about that and how that. So you're going to get a little bit of that in part 2 on Sunday, and I think it's an important part, an integral part of what we're doing now. I think we all have to realize that Zoom and StreamYard and all these sites are going to be a part of what we're doing in the future on these cons. So
I still wonder why San Diego chose Thanksgiving this year. That still baffles me.
Well, that's the one baffling part about all this, right? It's just they can't seem to get out of their own way. They have a built-in model that has been successful for centuries, for a long time, and they've been the standard bearer. And
that's not a con you go to on a holiday, though.
Yeah.
Wrong holiday, guys.
Yeah. I don't know how they're gonna get celebrities to go on that, because that's right in the middle of Oscar season, and they're gonna be doing a lot of Oscar pushing. So and I mean, no offense to San Diego Comic-Con, but that's not usually the tier of where you're going to see the Oscar, films, caliber films, at. So that's just interesting. I have a little story about filmmaking too coming up, but I wanted to jump in and again go to another pre-recorded, but it's a really good one, guys. I promise you. Some things. We got more good news coming. And CL Cannon's going to show you something on Amazon that you may not have been aware of. And I think it's a really cool marketing tip this month. So enjoy that, and we'll be right back right after that.
Hey guys, CL Cannon here from Fiction Atlas Press, bringing you your monthly marketing tip. We're back this month, and today I want to talk to you about the next game changer that's happening over at Amazon, and it's called Amazon A+ Content. And I'm going to let you know what it is, how to use it, and why it can help you get more sales. So what is A+ Content? It's Amazon's new visual marketing tool, and it's for ebooks and it's for print books. We all know that the best way to get a reader's attention is to wave something shiny in front of them. So that's kind of what this is. In this case, we're putting a big and visually pleasing image set into the product description section of our book's listing. So there's a few different ways that you can display your information. And what I've seen a lot of people doing right now is taking like 3 images and cutting them up into one large picture. You can do this on Canva and on BookBrush, and it looks really, really awesome. And, like that's what we want. We want it to grab people's attention, and it certainly does. So that's one way that you can use it. You can also do what's called a module layout, and you can list up to 6 of your books on this one. This one is a comparison layout. I've got notes here because there's just so much information. So you can list up to 6 other AISNs, which means you can list 6 of your other books that are in your series. It's great for series or something that's like a book that's written in the same universe. You can compare them. You can say, what characters are in each one. It's kind of like a checklist thing. Like think about when you're shopping for a product on Amazon, and like say you're looking for a new desk, and it shows you like 6 pictures of other desks that are like this, and it tells you what it check marks like different aspects of each one. That's what you can do with your books. It's actually really helpful, and I think it's really going to be a great way to showcase what you have to offer. There's also the standard technical specifications module, which is great for making lists and sharing quotes and information about your series. There's also a single image with sidebar module, and it works perfect. I mean, absolutely perfect for an author information center. You can do your bio, you can have like your author picture on this side, Q&A. You could even like highlight your main character if you want to do that instead of like you as an author. Next, there is the single left image module, and there you can have your image on the left and your information on the right. It's really simple and straightforward. Now let's talk about images with text overlays, which is really cool. If you've already got an image that looks stunning, like say you've got one with like a nice background and a 3D mock-up of your book or something, and you just need text for it, they actually already have a thing where you can do just a text overlay right there in Amazon. You don't have to go through some sort of third-party site like Canva or BookBrush or open up Photoshop. Do you want to give a preview of what's to come in your book? Or if you want to highlight like 3 of your characters or 3 of the locations in your book, that would be really cool for someone who has a lot of like really interesting locations. Then you can use the standard 3 image and text module. If you need to share a lot of info, you can use the standard multiple image module. And with all these amazing layouts, the possibilities are really endless. There's so much that you can do. You've probably already seen a lot of these layouts being used on Amazon products, and now they're just finally coming to books. So I'm sure you went to go buy like an iPad or a laptop or some really cool techie thing on Amazon, and you will scroll down, and in the information section, there's like these really cool, nice mocked up images and information on all the cool things about this product. That's what they're giving us now for our books with this Amazon A+ content. So of course, there are some other things that you need to know about A+ content, besides how pretty it is. So here's one thing that you should not ever do with your A+ content. Put reviews in there. This is something that Amazon just hates in general. They don't want it on your graphics when you're promoting your book. They don't want their name or anything that says Amazon reviewer on anything that they have not produced themselves. It's all part of their branding. And they just hate it. So what they will allow you to do is they will allow you to use A+ content with quotes if it is by a well-known publication or public figure. So, if you've got a Kirkus review, you can probably put it on there. I mean, if Stephen King read your book and he loved it and he wrote a review, then you can put it in there. But of course, all this is up to Amazon's discretion. So if they don't think the person's famous enough, or they don't think that the publication is well known enough, then they can say, you can't do it. So you just kind of be careful with including any kind of quotes or reviews. Can I upload A+ content on one marketplace and be done? Unfortunately, no. A+ content has to be uploaded individually to each marketplace. So what does that mean? And what's a marketplace? Because some people probably don't know that. Amazon marketplaces are places like Amazon.com, Amazon.ca, or .uk or AU. It's all the different country websites. So you can't upload your content onto one on Amazon.com and have it go to all the countries. Instead, you have to go to each individual one. And this could be good because, if you want to customize the language of your ads based on the country that you're advertising to, that can be really helpful. So that's actually, I think, a good thing. One thing you want to remember is to make sure that you're using the right image sizes and the right quality of images. So your ads, you want them to get approved quickly because someone is actually going to have to go in there and approve them. It usually takes about 8 days. And someone from Amazon, actually, like a real person, I think, actually, which is crazy for Amazon, actually goes in there and looks at your image and makes sure that it's appropriate. So if your content is not, they will reject it. And if by some miracle it gets through and it's all blurry or pixelated, then and nobody can read it, they're not going to be wanting to buy your product because they can't be assured of the quality and they can't read what it's about. So just be careful with that. Make sure that you're using the correct sizes that Amazon gives you, and also good quality images. And for the love of God, do not use anything with a watermark. If you don't have the rights for the image, please do not use it. So now that you know what it is and what not to do, how can it make you make new sales? Well, as I said before, shiny stuff. Humans like shiny stuff. They like visual stuff. Visual marketing is a lot more appealing than a big wall of text. It's been like scientifically proven that we will look at a wall of text and be like, meh. But if we see something shiny, sparkly, something in pretty colors that is visually pleasing to us, we're like, oh, what's that? And we want to go look at it. So that's the way that you capture attention. That's the whole deal with marketing, is capturing someone's attention long enough to sell them something. Like they say, it's a better mousetrap. It's showier and it's more easily accessible information, and it's just a win-win. It's free. It's a free way that it's totally free to do, and Amazon has given it to you as a tool to help you sell more books, because the more books you sell, the more money they make. So they have actually learned to do something that's actually maybe helpful for authors to sell more books. So make sure that you take advantage of this new tool. I think it's going to be something really, I don't want to say game-changing, because I think I've said game-changing like 5 times during this video, but it's something new, and I think it's something that's going to be successful. And you should at least give it a try, because like I said, it's free. So give it a try, do your own experiments, see if it works for you. That is my marketing tip for this glorious month. I hope you guys are doing well, and I will see you next month. And remember, it's always time to go indie now. Bye.
Ooh, shiny stuff. I like shiny stuff. We like shiny stuff.
We do like shiny things.
And I'll tell you all right now, I am, as far as Amazon is concerned, a certified reviewer. And thus, if you do get reviewed on my blog and you take a snippet of that and put it onto the A+ content, it will not get taken down. So go indie now is good with Amazon. So you guys can use, so if I've reviewed your stuff, another reason to come and let me read it and review it, or let me see it and review it. And I know this because a couple movies have already done this and put it up there, and I it's just great to see. So I'm real excited for all of you. I hope that you use me and abuse me. I'm ready to read. I'm ready to watch, and I'm ready to listen. So all of those
Famous
things,
last words.
If you're music,
Famous last
music,
words.
if you got movies, if you got books, I'm in. So come and take advantage, because Go Indie Now is something that will stick onto the A+ content.
And now your inbox will be completely flooded by the time you actually get to it, and you'll have more views than you could possibly handle.
That's fine. I'd rather have that than crickets. So I'm cool with that. So
Right.
But speaking of shiny, Katie, see, I told you everything tonight has a little link to the next thing, right? And this is something that us filmmakers have been waiting for. Look at how cool that is, huh? What is it, I wonder? Well, it is the next generation of digital stills and motion capturing devices, better known as the Red camera. This is their V Raptor, which has finally, after a couple years of being teased that it was coming out, it is finally here. It is out and about. And I know, Katie, you've been wondering what you can do with that spare change in your pocket, all this time, right? And you're thinking to yourself, wow, that looks really shiny and neat, right? Look at it. It's beautiful, right? It's gorgeous. And I can tell you right now, it is the hybrid model of what they've been trying to do. I don't know if anybody out here is binging Netflix shows currently, but if you have seen a Netflix show, including like a Cobra Kai or a Handmaid's Tale or whatever's on Netflix, I'm probably saying things that aren't on Netflix, but those all use the Red camera when they film. The Red camera has not been widely used in feature films because of the shutter speed that it represents and the depth of field and all the things. Well, this camera is solving all of those problems. And not only is it solving all those problems, but listen to all my indie filmmaking friends out there and anybody who's thought about making a film. The time is now. This is an opportunity, because this camera is a mere $25,000. And as far as cameras go, that's pretty cheap. But I know you just said, oh my God, that's how much my car is, right? Or that's a down payment on a house. Why would I buy a freaking camera? Well, I will tell you, you don't have to buy it. What I'm saying is that price tag for that camera is so affordable that movie houses around, like camera shops and places around where you could rent equipment to make movies, is going to make it so affordable for you to be able to rent a red and put a red out there and use a red camera that shoots in 8K quality, the next phase of our existence, everybody. And what that means is that basically what happens, I don't know if people know what photogenics is and how things work, but when something gets fed into a camera, it doesn't go at the speed that it's fed into. It generates frame rates and creates frames and pixels, and they come together and make the picture, right? Well, this is virtually like almost like filming off of your phone. Like you've done TikToks and you've done other things on your phone, but with a quality that is like you could do enhancements with, where you can do depth of field, where you can do zooming, where you can do all kinds of different things, and you do that all on the camera. You can even edit through the camera. So this is a huge deal, because this is going to open up an opportunity for indies to really put quality behind the message that they're trying to portray on film. And the Red is a very popular camera for indies right now, but it's been the generations before. And what they've had to do then is they've had to upload that and sync it and put it into film filters and all these things. Well, this camera will basically be just like uploading a video and then cutting it. That's how much of a revolution this is going to be. And I know everybody out there who's watching right now are authors and they don't really give a crap about this, but I'm telling you, right now, this is going to be important for all of you, because the more opportunities there are to make stuff, the more chances your stuff will get made into movies and TV shows and stuff like that. Because you don't have to rely on pitching to big studios. If we can get the kind of quality that the Matrix is producing or a big film is producing, and save on budget, we can do more special effects. We can do more things that would garner the attention of getting a book made into a film or a TV show. So
lower production cost, higher quality,
that
always a good thing.
Yeah, I think that is going to be an amazing development, and I think that this is awesome, and this is also going to make the other companies, the Dragon and all the other companies out there that have kind of been competing with Red, to realize that their price points might be a little too high again, and they'll bring it down, and then the Red will keep going down and down and down, and there you go. And then soon enough, it'll be like you own an iPhone, you own a Red iPhone, right? Because it's going to happen eventually, I'm sure of it. But in that respect, that is a great development, and I wanted to share that, especially to all my filmmaking friends who might actually watch the show. I want you to know that you're not forgotten here at Go Allen. So I thought, I know there's a lot of people out there salivating for this opportunity. They've been waiting a long time. This has been a couple years in the making, actually. So
it certainly looks pretty and shiny.
Yeah, it's pretty nice, huh? It's beautiful. Look. I mean, it fits in the palm of your hand too. I mean, the opportunity to roam with this camera is just, look. It's got super adjustments on it. You can see that black dial under the Red there. That is a depth of field adjustment. That is a sight alignment. All of those things, and it's beautiful. And all the little buttons there on the side, that's menus that you can do within the camera itself. So it's got a lot of functions and a lot of features. And I definitely encourage anybody who wants to go check out the camera to go look at the pin. The link of the article that I will pin into the comments and everything. So, but that being said, we do have an update. Speaking of Amazon, and
it wouldn't be indie news.
We've already crapped on Goodreads. Now it's time to crap on the other side of the fence. So tell everybody what's going on currently. I know that we've had a couple months of dormancy, but I think ACX and Audible have a little bit of something going on right now. So tell us, Katie, what's going on.
It's a little, it's still kind of a hurry up and wait. And that's because when you take on a behemoth like Amazon, it's not going to be a quick process. So if you're getting the emails, if you signed up for the newsletter for AudibleGate, then you already know what's going on. If you haven't, I do suggest going to audiblegate.com or going to the Fair Deal for Rights and Narrators group on Facebook, because that's where you're going to find the most up-to-date, minute-to-minute kind of things that are going on. But as of the last update that they sent, you know that they're following you know that they're following through with their promise to get the legal team together. That's going to cost a little bit of money. That also required them to create a not-for-profit LLC. So they did that. That is called TERM. TERM stands for, let's see, TERM is the Equitable Rights Movement Incorporated. I always forget that, just like with the group. I can never remember the full name of the group. So they had to create the not-for-profit organization in order to manage the legal defense. And it's also to help promote awareness. So you can still go to audiblegate.com and find out the information. There is now a link for their fundraiser. They do need funds in order to be able to bring this legal defense against Amazon. So anything that you can give is helpful. Any spreading word about what's going on is helpful. You know, any little bit that you can do is going to help the cause. Once they've got everything together, then they're going to be mounting their legal defense. So we're still kind of in a hurry up and wait at this point, but they are moving forward. They got the incorporation done. They are working with Cantor Law Group right now, and they have sent in as much information as they can. They've been talking with the legal team to try and figure out the best approach to go. I think initially they wanted to go with a class action suit, but that's not actually going to be the best way to take on Amazon. So they're still looking for the right way to do this and building all of the information on the back end. If you go to audiblegate.com, if you notice anything that has not previously been mentioned or have any problems with AudibleGate or with ACX, send them the information. Do your talking with ACX, save your emails, send them through AudibleGate's email. That way they have all of the information straight from the horse's mouth, so to speak. They know what we're doing on the author end and they can better help us. Now, why do I say that? Because recently it's been coming out that even if you are on expanded distribution with ACX, not all of the books are making it to the expanded channels. And when they're not making it, nobody's being told anything. It's just kind of swept under the rug. A lot of authors have come forward lately, and this is again through that Fair Deal for Rights and Narrators group. They're saying that iBooks are not stocking their Audible books. It's not going through. And it's not like they're being told this by Audible or given a reason why the book isn't there. Their book just isn't showing up. So again, where's the transparency? If we signed a contract for you to distribute our books and it's not being distributed, we need to know why, if it's something that needs to be fixed, or if you're just not sending it through, because that's a breach of contract. So if you have noticed that your books are in expanded distribution through ACX and they are not on all the channels they're supposed to be, that's a concern. Talk to ACX about it and then send AudibleGate copies of what you're doing, because that way they have that to add to their defense. Now, they're not the only ones bringing a lawsuit against AudibleGate, and it's kind of interesting that rather than joining the fight, two publishers decided to go ahead and start a class action lawsuit against Audible ACX. We're going to be following this one to see what happens, because it could set precedent for what happens with ours. So the two book publishers that filed a class action lawsuit are Golden Unicorn Enterprises Incorporated and Big Dog Books LLC. And their claim is exactly the same as ours, that Audible is underpaying self-published authors by falsely reporting the numbers of audiobooks sold. And according to the lawsuit, the Great Listener Guarantee, which began in 2016, that allows subscribers 365 days to return a book, is what is giving them these problems. It's basically creating an unlimited system at no cost to Audible, but all returns are taken away from that author. So again, they didn't join in with our fight. They're doing their own class action lawsuit. So following that could tell us what kind of response we're going to get. It could set precedent for the legal action that Audiblegate is bringing against them. So we want to follow that one closely, but it really is interesting to see that other people are taking up the charge. And that's all I've got for you right now. But again, it's a lot of hurry up and wait. And that's because you've got to do it right if you're going to go against Amazon.
Yeah. And their legalese is a lot. There's a lot of jargon and red tape and all of that. So,
one of the biggest hurdles they had to go through initially was the arbitration clause. And basically, I think that what they've been working on is proving that they were already in breach of contract. So the arbitration clause goes out the window. And that's kind of the workaround they're working with, because Amazon wants everything done in-house, and that's never going to be fair. Yeah.
And they have sleight of hand. We've talked about this before, that their way of contacting people who might be involved in this, and it's all corporate jargon that they've carefully plotted and planned, and they're not stupid. They know what they're doing. And it's tough. It's tough to fight that when they always say you can't fight City Hall, right? Like, Jeff Bezos is proving to be City Hall around here. So I mean,
it's taking time. It seems quiet right now, but it's not. If you are not a member of the Fair Deal for Rights Holders and Narrators group, I would suggest joining, because that's where you're going to get the most up-to-date information. They also have the Facebook page, Audiblegate, or go directly to audiblegate.com, and you're going to find out the information from them, as well as the legal information and the fundraiser that they're doing.
Mm-hmm. Well, we have a lot of great comments out there, like this one right here that says, anyone else notice how he's not reading comments now? He knows he screwed up. And these are great comments, but you know what? We're out of time, Katie, so I can't read any of these great comments. I mean, I don't know what to tell you guys. All right, we'll go through. We'll go overtime just for all of you, because you guys left some really great stuff for us. Fly, my pretties, bring me shinies. Yes, please. I'm scrolling up to the top here because Rebecca says, Katie, if you join now, you get a coupon code. Please share this.
And yes, that is something that more people need to know about. The coupon codes are available for joining author organizations. And for me personally, I should be doing that. A lot of times for my clients who are just doing one book, it's not worth it to them. And the coupon codes that we were talking about previously, I don't have any to give them because they've reined those back in. So I can't, go, oh, the nano code or this one. I know I can find those. So yes, for me, I should be, and I will be. For the one-time authors, or, the people who are publishing their memoirs, that won't be as beneficial to them, because it would cost more than it would just to, publish their book the one time.
Creative Fire says they love IBPA, and Rebecca agrees. And they also asked, do you have a new camera? You look pretty good tonight. Yeah.
Nope. Same old camera.
A.F. Stewart says, I recently did a print version of an older book for Drafted Digital and was impressed with the cover. Yeah, Drafted Digital is one of those companies that's kind of sneaking up on everybody.
But aren't they using Ingram as their back end?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. JD said he wasn't in the right headspace for, and I don't blame him. There's so many people I know who have been long time, who gave up their legacies in essence, to not attend as well, which is kind of crazy. A lot of people were forced to attend because of the legacy idea and holding on to that, because it's precious when you get it. And it's kind of like when you get tenure, so that's important. But he also says the Puerto Rico Comic-Con is still scheduled. We'll see. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, right? We're all kind of in this kind of weird transition period,
Yep.
It's just odd, Rebecca says, yeah, read my book. You've already sent it to me. I've got it. It's only been a year. No, I already reviewed that book. I don't know what you're talking about. It's on Amazon. I already reviewed it. So I even reviewed it on Go Indie Now. So stop your bitching.
Oh.
I have mail. Okay. All right. I'll take a look at my mail.
You asked for it.
He asked for it. I did. And he knows I'm watching, so it's informed consent.
There you go.
LOL prod. Yes, that seems to be the case. And yeah, so I guess that's where I screwed up not reading those comments. But well, there you go. Now they've all been put on the screen and read and talked about. And so, yes, I am salty a little bit. But I love you all. And, that's a lot of news to pack into tonight. And we'll be back in a month to probably talk more about more stuff. And
There's always something.
We're getting close to Nano too. Probably something about Nano will probably pop up next month or something. We'll have to see. But there's a lot of great stuff going on in the world, and I think we're headed toward goodness. At least I hope. So that's okay. So the other book that I have of hers, Dangerous Angles, Not Moss. All right, gotcha. We have a bet. All right. I don't even know what that is, but thank you very much, Vanessa. We really appreciate that. Thank you for contributing.
Yes,
it's a really great conversation. I hope you guys all come and check it out, because this Sunday we're going to talk more about the wrestling match that has become the print world, and who dies off the top rope first. We've got a lot of great guests with us, and we have just some returning champions to join us, and of course CL Cannon will have a nice indie connection for you. And then while you're moseying about, go check out Katie and all her books. Look at that. Look at all those books that she has that I have to review. Oh my God! But at least I've kind of read one of them, even though she read it to me.
you don't even have to do the reading. If you go to my YouTube channel, you can happily listen to books 1 and 2 in the Asset series.
There you go. And it's a really great. That's a really great. She does a really great job with that.
Thank
we
you.
tease her about her reading style, but it's a lot of fun. It's a great book. That first book is fantastic. So go check that out for sure.
Spilling Ink will be back. We've got a few shows booked here in the end of September. So for the next 3 weeks, we're definitely back, and we will be opening our bookings to anyone who's looking to come on and join us. So feel free to send us an email at spillinginkshow@gmail.com if you'd be interested in chatting with us and doing one of our Saturday interviews.
Okay, cool. There you go. All right. Well, you know what that means, Katie.
It's always time to go indie now.
And we'll see you guys later. See you on